In a trilogy of movies named after him, John Wick doesn't say much because he doesn't need to. John Wick is undeniably an introvert, yet John is unquestionably formidable. He's one of the most iconic characters ever manifested on screen. In this video, we're going to explore 3 habits you can master, which explain why John Wick is quietly captivating and exudes confidence as an introvert. The first habit, which is arguably John's single most defining characteristic, is his relentless commitment. Once John's fixed his purpose, decided on a course of action, and has his sights locked on target, the endgame is inevitable. John has a relentless commitment to his pursuit, unabated by obstacles and undeterred by the consequences of his actions. He sees and accepts a single reality, one version of the world he inhabits, and thus the accomplishment of his objective. This is perhaps best illustrated and understood in the final scenes of the second movie.
I'm here to see Santino d'Antonio.
Jonathan?
Have you seen the menu here? Load of options.
Jonathan, listen to me. Jonathan, just walk away.
Yeah, Jonathan. Walk away.
What have you done?
Finished it.
John's formidable, not because of his physical presence or his superior skill, but because he's recognized by the people he interacts with as a man who honors his word, however treacherous of a path his commitment may force him down. And as we know, what comes next in the third movie demonstrates the gravity of the consequences of John's commitment, an all-out war of legions of men against one man with quiet confidence. Why is commitment important? Why is the habit of relentlessly pursuing our goals critical to our confidence? It's because commitment is the underlying driving force of everything we're willing and unwilling to do in this life. The greater our commitment to an idea, to a course of action, to a reality we design, the weaker and penetrable obstacles become. Without commitment, we become capricious, our pursuits being fleeting and everlastingly unaccomplished, moving from one incomplete goal to another. Commitment steadies our nerves, controls our emotions, influences the way we think and how we perceive the world, and how we combat what's forced upon us. A relentless commitment allows us to access parts of our being that we didn't know existed until called upon. A relentless commitment allows us to unlock new abilities and depths which we never imagined possessing. For John, one of those abilities is his unrivaled resourcefulness, which we'll explore further in the second habit. When John finds himself faced with a seemingly insurmountable obstacle, he digs deep, accesses the power his relentless commitment harnesses, and finds a way not over or under, but through. As one of my favorite authors, the great Stoic writer Ryan Holiday espouses and articulates beautifully in his perspective-shattering book titled "The Obstacle is the Way." Ultimately, what stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacles we face on our journey to a more fulfilling life, to create a more heartfelt relationship, to a healthier lifestyle, to a more successful career or business, are harnessed through the power of commitment and propel us in ways we previously may not have imagined. A man of commitment is a man of action. The depth of our commitment signals to everyone we interact with as to whether we should be taken seriously or not, whether our word is our bond, and if they can rely on us enacting what we've intended. Are you the colleague your boss thinks of immediately when a landmark project in a sea of pressure needs to be completed urgently by the best? Are you the friend that's called upon when those you care about need someone they can truly rely on? Are you the training partner that relishes working out in the storm and can be counted upon to show up? Commitment is instantly recognizable in the actions of a person. To be appreciated as someone who embodies commitment doesn't require you to voice your ambitions or to be an extrovert. Undeniably, admiration for a committed man is enhanced by the quiet devotion, not diminished. One of the most unassuming yet immutable ways to command respect as an introvert, whatever arena of life you're called upon, whether that be in the workplace, in business, in school, or your personal relationships, is to be distinguished for your commitment to a clear set of pursuits. Because commitment is distantly observed, it's quietly perceptible, yet profoundly clear in the manner a person carries themselves, by the extent they prioritize their time, and the intuitive response to setbacks and victories. In a world that can't stop talking, fortune lies not within what you say, but lies upon what you do. If there's only one exercise you undertake in introspection today, let it be this. Ask yourself, if you were to be defined by your commitments, how would you be remembered by the world you inhabit? What are you committed to right now? What one ambition, ideal, or vision are you willing to pursue relentlessly, come what may? The single most effective commitment we can make, and fundamentally the most important, is a commitment to ourselves. Evaluate your life, how you spend your days, and what you occupy your time with. Identify what reality you truly wish to live in, and now think about how you could actualize the vision that lies buried deep beneath the insecurities and excuses. If you relentlessly committed with the intensity of John Wick to the pursuit of this reality. The second habit, which immediately showcases John's quiet yet potent brilliance, is his unbridled resourcefulness. John has an almost inconceivable ability to overcome any crisis through his remarkable skill of instantly assessing a situation and imaginatively wielding the power of everything he has available to him to maximum effect. John's resourcefulness extends beyond thinking outside the box. He tears it open and creates an entirely new dynamic in which he's in control. John can take a seemingly harmless everyday item and deploy it as a killing machine. Some say that at any given moment, there is someone in the world relating the tale of John and his pencil.
I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar. With a pencil. The fucking pencil.
He once killed 3 men in a bar.
A pencil. I know, I've heard the story,
With a
sir.
fucking pencil? Who the fuck can do that?
Those around John don't even trust him to use his leather belt for simply holding his pants up, as his resourcefulness is infamous. I view resourcefulness as the ability to galvanize the potential power that lies within everything available to us to achieve an objective, particularly in scenarios where most people think they've reached the limit of what's achievable when constrained by external factors. Ultimately, to be more resourceful requires expanding the reach of what's available to us and becoming more efficient at unlocking latent potential. Being resourceful means to be prepared even when you think you're not. It means being equipped with the emotional, intellectual, physical, social, financial, and spiritual tools to navigate through the crucible of life. The more we learn through reading and the more we experience by being open to new adventures, the more we develop skills with deliberate practice, the greater our armory is when inevitably called upon by life's challenges to rise and be a gladiator. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. In the next 12 months, what crisis would not be unrealistic to find myself plunged into? What will it take for me to overcome it? Do I have the resources to fulfill this need? Because life will inevitably present you with at least one crisis over the next 12 months. John Wick has an unrestrained capacity to overcome because he has a deep pool of resources he's acquired deliberately. John's quietly confident in whatever situation he finds himself in. He has an unrivaled emotional equanimity, even in the highest octane of environments. Why? Because he's self-assured in his ability to accomplish what's required, and he will use literally anything he can get his hands on to achieve his objective, even if that means using his bare hands.
How would you do it, I wonder?
My hands.
So far, we've talked about resourcefulness primarily based on external factors. However, one crucial component of being more resourceful requires us to look inward and is often overlooked, yet can be the most powerful resource which remains unlocked for many of us. What I'm referring to is the innate ability we all possess to reframe how we view a situation. Reframing our perspective from one of hopelessness and limitation to one of leveraging what we have available to us moves us from a state of scarcity to a state of abundance. With an abundance mindset, possibilities unveil themselves. Your boss has assigned you to a complex project at short notice, which needs to be delivered by the end of the week. Reframing this as an opportunity to demonstrate your indispensable value to the business instead of an inevitable disaster immediately allows you to start thinking about an inventive way to get the job done rather than your impending self-fulfilling demise. We have a tendency to rely on the same tools over and over again because they're familiar to us and have worked in the past. Our comfort zone retreats over time until finally our vision becomes myopic and all we see is our trusty tool. We become oblivious to the other tools available to us and diminish our resourcefulness. The law of the instrument broadly states, to a man with only a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Lovinger's law of irresistible use suggests something similar, that if a boy has a hammer, this proves something needs pounding. The problem with not reframing challenging situations we find ourselves in is that we resign ourselves to the anticipated failure because we think we don't have the tools or resources to deal with what lies ahead. We become restrained. The hammer we're holding, which is used to pound at the problem, has achieved very little. Reframing to approach a problem with an abundance mindset suddenly flings open a toolbox with a variety of tools. Granted, it's unlikely we'll have a tool that was specifically designed to tackle the problem at hand, but with a mindset shift, we can leverage everything we have to get the job done. John Wick is a master of reframing. Where others see certain failure, John sees exits, counts bodyguards, calculates timing, and visualizes each strike.
You're thinking about it, aren't you? You counting exits? Guards? Could you get to me in time?
Next time you find yourself in a situation where you're losing hope and anticipating failure, be like John. Start counting, calculating, and visualizing options which are just waiting to be uncloaked. Unleash your unbridled resourcefulness. Before then, ask yourself, what's my hammer and is it time I dropped it? Then go about arming yourself with other tools. Perhaps a book on Russian folktale like John, so you're ready for the menacing giant around the corner and the adversities he will inevitably thrust upon your door. Habit 3 is one which seemingly harnesses John's introverted nature. It's John's practice of forging enduring relationships. Enduring relationships give primacy to depth of friendships rather than their breadth. They are deep-rooted, firmly established one-to-one personal relationships which are fortified to survive the most cataclysmic of conditions. They're built upon a shockproof foundation, cemented to last a lifetime. Forging enduring relationships can be a significant comparative advantage for introverts over extroverts, as this mobilizes what tends to come naturally to us as introverts, which is a preference and propensity to engage with others on a more profound one-to-one personal level. Whilst remarkably proficient and independent, it would be an injustice to label John Wick as a lone wolf. The reality is that John wouldn't have survived the current trilogy of movies in the absence of 5 vital personal relationships he had forged. In each movie, John finds himself in a critical situation where he's impelled to rely on a friend for survival. The 5 enduring relationships John forged, which were paramount to his survival, are with Marcus, Winston, Sharon, Sophia, and the Bowery King.
You have 1 hour. I can't delay it any longer.
You made him excommunicado.
But not before you gave him an hour to escape.
In the trilogy of movies, as John's situation crescendos to dire desperation, his reliance on others becomes undeniable.
Sir, put your weapon down.
Before we dive into what compels John's friends to risk everything to help John, it's useful to explore how John's treated by those trying to kill him and claim the $14 million bounty on his head. John is venerated by his adversaries. In their eyes, he's a rock star. It's their privilege and honor to interact with him, even if that's because they're trying to kill him. We see how those contracted to kill John are awestruck in his presence and have a genuine respect for him.
I gotta tell you, I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. I'm a huge fan. John Wick. And so far, you haven't disappointed.
Bangga bertarung dengan Anda, Mr. Wick. Banget dia sekarang. Harusnya dia sudah pensiun 5 tahun lalu. Tapi tetap saja, John Wick.
Setting aside the obvious legendary feats John's accomplished and his infamous identity as an elite and mythical hitman, John's respected by his adversaries because he's not a hater. He doesn't behave negatively with others. He doesn't discredit, devalue, or diminish others. In fact, unless John's trying to help someone or execute a contract, John's not concerned with others at all. John has 2 principal personality traits which fuel his capacity to forge powerful, enduring relationships. Firstly, at a micro day-to-day level, John invests in each of his relationships, treating each and every person with a high degree of respect, irrespective of what their role and stations are in his world. This is apparent when we look at those in John's wider world, such as Aurelio, the chop shop mechanic in the first movie, who looks out for John, or the doctor in the third movie, who helps patch up John when he's excommunicado.
Is it here?
It was.
I heard you struck my son.
Because you stole John Wick's car, sir, and, killed his dog.
Oh.
The key takeaway here is that John engenders trust in each of his interactions daily, investing time and effort into people, irrespective of whether that person sits at the high table or is effectively the mechanic. John respects every relationship, however nominal it may appear to be. The return on these investments is something money can't buy, and that's the respect of others. Whether someone's serving at the store checkout, cleaning the desk around you in the office, opening the entrance door to the hotel lobby, or driving you home in an Uber, treat them as if they held influence over you. Engage with them as you would a peer. Behave like you'll interact with them on a daily basis, even if you'll never see them again. Secondly then, at a more profound macro level, what distinguishes John and compels those he's forged enduring relationships with to stake their lives for him is that John himself is willing to do exactly the same for them, and for many, he's already gone to extreme lengths. We discover in the third movie that many years ago, John rescued Sophia's daughter and has secretly arranged for her protection and upbringing since. It's clear that what Sophia asked of John was monumental, and John came through for her. While Sophia's reception of John projects an intense contempt for him, in reality, we learn she trusts John with what she holds most valuable, the life and upbringing of her daughter. This dissonance beautifully captures the essence of an enduring relationship and the depths involved.
If I make one mistake, one enemy, maybe somebody goes looking for my daughter. And I know what you did, John, to get her out.
I'm just asking you to try.
We leave in 10 minutes.
People are prepared to do for John what they truly believe he's willing to do for them. Ultimately, that is the foundation of any relationship. The greater the value you pledge, the greater the value someone is prepared to return. At the very heart of any effective relationship is a transaction, a mutuality of obligation. Ask yourself, how many relationships do you hold which can endure the trials of life? How many of your relationships have ever been truly tested? Do they have any depth, or are they built on shallow ground, blown apart with a whisper of hardship? Study your relations and anticipate the inevitable crisis meandering its way to you, and ask yourself, if things were to fall apart, who could you call? Who could you rely on that you'd know would show up? Don't be that guy that has 1,000 acquaintances but 0 friends. Instead, focus on forging relationships that will last, relationships that have mutual value, relationships that are worth investing in, relationships that endure. In summary, if you're an introvert like John Wick and want to increase your confidence without having to say a word but staying true to who you are, then focus on mastering the 3 habits we explored in this video, which are 1. Having a relentless commitment to a goal or ambition and fighting through the obstacles you'll inevitably face. 2. Possessing an unbridled resourcefulness such that you're prepared come what may by unlocking the potential of the resources available to you. And 3. Forging enduring relationships by genuinely investing in people, as however unbreakable you may think you are, ultimately you'll need to rely on someone at some point. Hi guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this video or received any value from it, please hit that like button and let the inescapable algorithm know that this video is worth watching and the hours and hours I put into making this video doesn't go to waste. It'll really help me tremendously and I very much appreciate it. If you'd like to see more of these videos where I'll be sharing lessons from formidable introverts, please subscribe to this channel as I'll be releasing fortnightly videos. I'd love to hear from you all as to which introverts you want me to break down in future videos. Please let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.